Howdy folks! Today's soap is going to be brought to you by RazoRock, and it's What the Puck, and this shaving soap is in a hard puck form. The name of this one here is Orange Sunrise. This came by the way of a sniper mail call from Shavette World. Gentleman there sent me this one here, along with this one right here. This is Lime Burst, as well as, oh, here we go. And this one here is a Blue Barbershop. And like I said, these are all hard, firm, not pressing your finger into that. On the first mail call, I got this nose, and on the second one, I got this one to go along with it. And it's a coffee mug, and this one here is a pretty nice one. It's nice and heavy. In other words, it's going to keep your coffee warm for a moment. I thought I might be able to shave with this thing on. I'm not too sure, but I thought it might be nice to go ahead and at least put it on. It's pretty nice. You guys are just really awesome. I also got. Normally, I would shave with a single edge razor, but due to the kindness and generosity of Shavette World, gentleman there, thought maybe it might be best to have a Shavette shave. This was one of two Shavettes I bought when I first started, and the other one was a Parker SRB. And both these Shavettes I really do like, in that they're inexpensive, easy to start with. This one here, this Classic Samurai, you can probably pick one up. Last time I looked, you can pick one up for about $8 without any blades. And after that, normally what I would see them with would be about 100 or a 200 pack of pre-cut blades from Derby, and somewhere around $12, $15, just depends. Depends on what time of the year you're looking. If you get closer to the Black Friday time frame, you know, you can start finding things a little bit cheaper. I scraped some of the soap out of the Orange Sunrise, and I've got it here in a Sabachi bowl here. And normally I would already have this whipped up, but I guess the clown nose was throwing my game off this morning, so I started the camera before I realized I still hadn't lathered things up to help speed up the video. But I do, if everything goes well, today's going to be a busy day. Yesterday was busy. Plan on doing a video, besides a shaving video, but I plan on doing a video on how what I experience, and when it comes to making my lather in my bowls. I have learned over, through my experience, that at least for me, the different badger, horse, boar, synthetic knots, different bowls, even, of course, then different soaps, they have a tendency to have their peculiarity, if I can say that word. In other words, they're the little quirks about things. Some soap will take more water. Some knots will hold more water, like synthetic. Out of habit, whether it's a synthetic or a natural bristle brush, I throw it in the mug of water along with my razor. That's just my habit. I have seen where, Donald, he just wets his brush underneath the running water, and then he just gets with it. And so how much water do you need? All that, you just have to experiment with it. Like this one here, this brush here is from RazoRock. This is the RazoRock 400, and this is the black synthetic knot. And this is what I've already got worked up just by, just talking here. And this is pretty close to how I like to whip it up. I like to have it a little bit on the moist side, or what some might say the wet side. For me, when it comes to a Shavette or a straight razor shave, it seems to help with the shave. And I have shaved with some thicker lather before. It's not a big deal. It's just that you can go either way. It's just my preference for me. I've already taken a hot towel to the face, and I've already taken the bloom water and applied it to my face to use it as a pre-shave. As it goes to bloom or not to bloom, my suggestion on if you're using this soap, this hard puck soap, you might want to bloom it, and it's because not so much to soften up the soap, which is just a I guess you might say a byproduct, if you will, but the scent just rolls just right out while I was just sitting in here in the bowl while I was making my preparations. The scent was just coming right out of the bowl. It's great. In other words, you're bringing the scent out when you're blooming this. Go ahead and wet my face here. Might be worth a try if you're not used to blooming your soaps. These 3 pucks, I've only done the one, but I'm quite sure the other 2 are going to be the same way. You might want to bloom them because the scent it's just awesome coming out of the bowl. And I'm not talking about this one, I'm talking about my shaving bowl. I was really surprised on how the scent was just coming right on out of there. Orange Sunrise. Oh, and in case you're wondering what I'm going to be following up with, I decided I was going to pick Fine. Thought this would be a good one to follow up with. Excuse me. Still got some allergy issues, and with our weather, it'd be cool for a few days, and now it's up in the 80s, and I think on Sunday it's supposed to drop where I think the low is 41. I mean, 80's like 88 degrees. I mean, it's got warm. So I know my allergies, my sinuses are going to be giving me fits. Yeah, out there went some lather. That is one thing, excuse me, about the way I whip up my lather. I do have a tendency to get it everywhere. If I'm not getting it everywhere when I'm lathering up, I do get it everywhere when I'm lathering in the bowl, which is, how you say, a lot of the fun. For me, I learn a lot about the soap while I'm lathering in the bowl, watching it, how it lathers, and how I have to lather it, how much water it's going to take, how much it's going to hold. For me, I just seem to learn a lot. When I very first started wet shaving, I usually just kind of loaded it right off the puck and then went to lathering on my face. And somebody started mentioning about the bowls and the mugs, and I started working with Williams mug soap a bit more, and then I just, I guess you might say, just kept right on lathering in a bowl or a mug. Just seems to be working better for me, something I prefer. First pass. Oh, there says Personna blade. I think this will be like the 3rd use on this one. When I first started, boy, I sure did struggle with this Shavette. The Parker SRB is a little bit heavier, and I seem to work better with the heavier one. And it took me a while to learn how to shave with this one. And that's more of the user. It's not, well, nothing wrong with the Shavette, it's the user. It was me. I started out with DEs that were heavy, I guess you might say. They weren't really lightweight, and I just got accustomed to things that were heavier in my hand. And it still is that way. But that's the, I guess you might say that's the challenge. Shaving with the Shavette. I guess you might say not all Shavettes are created equal. You might like a lighter weight one, a heavier weight one. You might want one with a small head like this one here. Focus. The Focus Slim. Now that's a small head, lightweight, very well balanced. It's really nice to use. In a way, it's similar to this one here. This one here doesn't weigh a whole lot either. Except from this Focus Slim, the loading mechanism is somewhat different. Not a bad thing by any means. Matter of fact, I kind of like that loading mechanism. I seem to have less trouble keeping the blade where I want it to stay. Now it might depend on each individual and what you prefer, but when it comes to stretching, if I'm stretching, for me with the green, I have a tendency to pull the skin up. If I'm going across the green, like from the ear to the nose, I usually will I see some that'll pull their ear. I have more of a tendency to just take and move my skin that same direction. And if I'm going against the grain, I have a tendency to pull the skin down. It just seems to work well for me. But usually if I'm just by stretching my head one way or the other, I usually can get the neck on the with the grain pass to keep the skin tight enough to be able to shave without. My skin's a little bit loose in some areas, and so how much you need to stretch, you know, if your skin's still fairly tight, you may not have to stretch quite as much as somebody that's older and skin's starting to get a little bit loose. And I say older, because that's typically when it happens, is when you get older. If you're interested in with the Shavette, DE shaving, just starting out, Shavette World is a very good place. A lot of information. In other words, the guys are very, very helpful. You can kind of see what I'm saying when I cross the grain. I have a tendency just to pull the skin and puff the cheek out just a little bit. I already knew up there I was going to need to do it across the grain. Check the rest of my face here, and that's something I do. It's kind of like with the bloom water, where I take that bloom water and I work it into my face. And with when I do my rinse, for me, not only am I taking the leftover and working it back into my face again, but I'm also feeling how the shave's going. Because I don't always have to do a across the grain pass on my cheeks. Sometimes it's just with the grain against the grain, and then I'm done. That shave usually will work pretty decent for me. It's not baby butt smooth by any means, but it's an acceptable shave. And not everybody has the same, I guess you might say, pain points that I may have. I've got certain parts of my neck that, especially with the Shavette or with a straight razor, against the grain pass could be pretty aggressive, and so I don't do them all the time, because that especially right here gets good and irritated if I'm not careful. Years of experience, in other words, that I know there's a part on my face that really can get irritated, and it'll take better part of a week for it to get, you might say, smooth on out. It doesn't happen much anymore. Learned how to shave that area of the skin and not get the irritation. Gotten much better since I started wet shaving, which I didn't start wet shaving until, what was it, April of 2015. Started with the shave at the very beginning, in other words in January of 2016. This is pretty nice soap. Thanks guys, I really appreciate this. This is nice. Really nice soap. Excuse me. Yes, grain pass here. Another reason why I was interested in starting out with a Shavette is because to start out with one, it's not real expensive. Face it, like I said, I think you can find these with about 200 blades. What was that, $15 I think? I'd have to look again. It was on Amazon. And that's pretty cheap to get started. You not only get pre-cut blades, but a shaver to go with it. I got some pre-shave soap. Got Douglas's cube from the group. I think it's Local Gents Clown Fruit pre-shave soap. And I also got the, I've got one other from Douglas. Can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. I've had it for a while, knowing that at some point in time here pretty soon I'm going to incorporate it in my shaves. I think I'm going to use it in the month of December, you know, DE shaving. I planned on shaving the rest of this past week with my gold $1.66, and then I got all these neat gifts from Shavette World gentlemen there, so thought it would be appropriate. Sometimes I feel pretty good, pretty comfortable with the straight razor, and sometimes mentally I don't think I was quite ready for it again. It's the length of that blade for me that's it takes a little bit for me to get used to. That's when you're talking about a DE blade and a straight razor. I mean, there's a huge difference there in length of blade. For me, the overall technique, what I use with a Shavette versus a straight razor is pretty much all the same for me. It's just adjusting the angle and trying not to round the edge when you struff it. If you follow any kind of college football today in the state of Oklahoma and the state of Texas, as far as that goes, today is a big day. You might hear from time to time, depending on what state you're in, and if you're following college football or any other sport, you know, usually there's another local team, in other words, another state team there, or whatever the case might be, where you can lose any other game, but you can't lose that one. And it's OU and Texas playing, and I know they both feel the same way. Yes, you cannot lose that one. It's fun. Also, should say, typically on my strokes may be longer with the green pass, and then with against the green I may be a little bit shorter on my strokes. Over time I'm figuring out that seems to work a little bit better for me. Still might be longer than what most others might do, but usually I take some pretty long strokes, I guess, compared to some others. Especially if you watch the videos of the barbers, man, they take short, what I would call choppy strokes. I can't hardly bring myself to do that. It doesn't feel comfortable. So your mileage may vary, in other words. And they do it so fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Can't do it. Talking about something that's scary. Well, that to me, that's scary. I watch those videos like, wow, those guys are they're just fantastic. I think maybe one day I might get that good, but I don't know. I've seen some guys trim some hair with scissors, and it's like, wow, they are really good. It's about like how you might see a chef, somebody that's very familiar with a knife and chopping up vegetables or whatever the case is in the kitchen. You see how fast they chop it up. I mean, the videos I've been watching, these barbers are just unreal on how fast and good they are with it. Just wow, impressive. In other words, I still got a lot to learn. I'm in no hurry though to get that fast. I'm going to take it nice and slow. But like with the straight razor, I just shave with it every once in a while. And I think I might be ready for it mentally. Because for me, it's more of a mental thing besides the stropping. Just get mentally prepared for it. There's some days I know I am and everything goes really well. I feel really comfortable with it. And then some days I think I am, and then I wake up that morning, and especially if I'm not feeling all that great, probably not a real good day to try to shave with a straight razor, since I'm not all that comfortable with it. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Comfortable shaving with a Shavette, but not a straight razor. Like I said, for me, it's the length of the blade that I struggle with. My I don't feel like my face is that big, especially with this facial hair, and I find it alum block. I find it difficult to maneuver that size of blade around my face. And I feel more comfortable with the Shavette because the length of the blade is shorter. As it goes for the lengths of the blade, yes, I've got it right over here. Because this will be a pretty good example. It's not a Shavette, but it'll take this. Takes the blade of an artist club, and that's one of my favorite shavers. But you can kind of see right there, there's a bit of a difference in the length. This works just fine, but this one here, in my opinion, hits the sweet spot. It's not too long, it's not too short. I mean, in other words, it'll cover more of my face, and it doesn't seem to be, in other words, too big to get in the way. This one here I don't consider too small, but if you don't have the facial hair, and it maybe you're a bigger guy than me, because I only stand 5'6", so pretty short, a bigger blade might work better for you. It's kind of like a gotta show you this bowl. Got lots of lather still left in there. More than enough for a whole nother 3-pass shave. This size knot in this brush, 24mm, more than big enough for me. I find myself sometimes gravitating to a smaller knot because my face is it's just not that big. Witch hazel, lilac. About ready to switch over to Thayer's with aloe. It's not quite there just yet, temperature-wise around here. But I know it seems like most of the time when it starts to get cooler, the humidity drops and my skin just really gets dry. Especially the top of my head. I really struggle with my head, keeping it moisturized. Top part gets dry, the rest of it, no problems. Kind of typical, huh? Nose is still bugging me. This is some pretty nice aftershave. I have noticed that they changed the shape of their bottles. Don't have one of the new ones just yet. There's one particular scent, the Italian citrus, I believe it is. Still need to, don't have that one. And I've been tempted to give it a try. Some like the I guess you might say the older style bottles. Some don't mind the new ones. I only got a little bit of stinging this morning. I have this spot over here. I think I've irritated it pretty good, even though it may not look like it. But all week it's been stinging right there in the same spot. And but to look in the mirror, this mirror puts me deeper into the wall. It doesn't bring me closer. So I haven't been able to see what's going on with it. It might be a little bit red right now, but throughout the day and whatnot, it's just not there. So I'm not sure what I've done right there. it may be very well possible that I've taken off a layer of skin there, and it's just taken a while for it to heal, and I just didn't realize that that's what the case was. Because that is pretty close to my facial hair, and that's where I usually the heel of the blade, and may have done it with the straight razor, taking off a little bit more than just hair with the straight razor. Great aftershave. If you haven't tried one of these, you might want to give them a whirl. This one here, boy, the scent just rolls right out of the bowl. Even with my nose from time to time, I could still, the scent is just very much present in the soap still. Really nice soap. Anyway, I am way long. Everybody, I hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.